everybody, and welcome back to the Inspo Pod Season 3. We will be kicking off next week with the updated episodes for Season 3. But in the meantime, today we have an interval episode, if you like, which was recorded in summer of 2025 before life got in the way, as it always does. So this will be perfect update on how life was midway, at the midway point between the end of season 2 and the start of season 3. So see this as the midway point from August time, updating you on where my life was at that time, but also kind of giving a premise of what the rest of the season is going to be about, giving you an insight into what we're going to be doing. We've got some amazing guests coming up on this season. Starting from next week, you'll hear the 2026 updates. You'll hear how things have changed again, where we're at. We're going to talk all things hormones, hormonal balance, food, weight, PMDD, PCOS, just being female in general. We've got some amazing icks that we're going to go through, nervous system, like career changes, coffee, business ideas. It's all gonna happen. We've got some amazing guests that are really going to focus in on some real issues that women face within their bodies. We've got a PCOS expert on here. We're going to have another expert that talks about PMDD and PCOS as well. And then a couple of other guests who really delve deeper into some of these issues and how they're affected by them, as well as my full journey. So please do stay tuned. Enjoy today's episode. I hope it gives you a really good insight into what's been happening in the past sort of 6 months to a year. And then from next week, we're going to really dive in head first. Enjoy! Hi guys, welcome back to a new season of the Inspo Pod. Incredible. We've had quite a break. So I really want to start this episode by giving you a bit of an update, a bit of a life update. And then I want to go into talking about health and well-being. Because I'm on a bit of a health journey myself at the moment. Health and fitness, I feel like all these things combined. Also, do excuse my sweaty skin. I'm recording this on, I think, the third hottest day of the year, which is insane. Um, but yeah, there's lots to unpack. I'm on a bit of a health and fitness journey. And it kind of started as a journey of weight loss. I think as a lot of women's journeys do, we're under a lot of pressure to look a certain way. And sometimes you can feel like you're doing the absolute most in terms of fitness and you just feel like you're not getting anywhere. Um, which I think is what does kickstart a lot of women's sort of questions, um, and subsequently their health journeys. So I'm just gonna grab my fan because it's really hot. Um, and let's get to it. So let's start off with some life updates. Since the last season, I have moved house. Still within London. I'm living in Clapham now. So if anyone's around Clapham or nearby, give me a shout. I love to meet people who listen to the pod. Always up for making new friends. So give us a shout. Clapham's stunning. I've lived here before and I do love it. It's totally different though. Clapham's so big. And I used to live in Clapham South, if anyone knows it, and now I'm the opposite end. And it's just a completely different experience. So it's wild. But I love it. So that's a big life change. I've still had some sort of family things to deal with. My dad isn't in the best of health, so trying to support him. Um, and my grandparents are all just sort of, you know, not the best health either. They're ticking along, they're doing okay. So it's just kind of trying to spend enough time with family. So that's a big thing. And then just as I said, lots of sort of changes with health and fitness and that kind of journey, discovery, lots of job changes, trying to start a business, trying to figure out what I want to do, designing things. Starting a business, a lot of people think is just like a quick thing. It's not. Um, when I say start a business, I'm like literally starting. So nothing's going to happen for about a year. Like it takes time, you know? Um, so it's very much early stages, if you like. So yeah, it's quite a big thing to start a business. Like it starts off with just an idea and then you get to design and then it's like execution of the designs, like manufacturing, like how you're going to sell something. There's so much that goes into it. And when you're doing a million other things, like I have been doing, it's impossible to put enough time in. So that's been a process as well, which is why the podcast has fallen to the wayside. Um, but yeah, I live with three incredible girls in a lovely home. Um, Still living the dream, still working in events, working with some lovely people actually. And still single, still manifesting, still just living the dream, as it were. So yeah, that's kind of the life updates for 2025. Um, Lots of change, lots of things have happened, but I feel like I'm in a really good place. And it's nice because I feel like my routine and my home life have drastically improved around the same time that my health and well-being needs to improve. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's all kind of coinciding, everything's kind of coming together. Um, it's so warm today, by the way, absolutely sweltering. Only downside of my move is I'm now on the third floor of a house. And let me tell you, when it's the hottest month of the year, the heat rises. Like most people know that the hottest room in a house is the room at the top. Horrendous. But yeah, so lots of life updates. Everything's coming together. Everything's working out well. And my health is getting loads and loads better. So that's what I really want to focus kind of this whole season on, really. We might dip in and out of little things, might have a few familiar faces back on, and a few new faces as well that are more sort of in the health and wellness of space. Um, but yeah, that's the focus, fitness, health, all of that stuff, because health is wealth, right? And along with that is a little bit of like weight loss as well. But I don't like focusing on weight loss because I feel like a lot of things in life are centered around weight loss because that's what sells and because that's what keeps people in check. We're supposed to look and fit a certain way. Um, but quite often, if you get your health and your well-being right, weight loss is a given. And it's not a quick thing. People think it's this quick thing. You know, Ozempic has been massive this year. 2025 has really seen this like Ozempic, woo. And like these things like Ozempic have always existed, not always, but you know, they've been around for a while. But that one in particular has just like got this crazy sort of, you know, shine in the spotlight. It's 5 minutes of fame, if you like. And so people are really jumping on that because people want quick results. And actually, what I'm finding is slower is better. And it's frustrating, but it's better. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about, first of all, what my struggles have been and what my ailments are. Because I feel like there's some people listening that could probably really relate. Um, and they're things that seem to be quite common now. And I think some people are jumping on a bandwagon in a way, but I also think a lot of people have gone undiagnosed for a long time. So my first ailment, well, the first thing that kind of kicked everything off really was weight loss. So that was the first thing. So I seem to have been putting on weight gradually for years and years and years. I'm someone that hammers the gym, I hammer the weights. I did used to do a lot of cardio, not so much anymore. I find like I haven't got enough energy, or stamina. But I was hammering the weights and I'm quite strong. And I just felt like, you know, my weight's just going up. It's not really getting any better. So I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, you know? We can sometimes feel like we're doing the absolute most and the results are the absolute least, which is frustrating. Um, so that was kind of the first thing. It's not really an ailment, but that was kind of my first issue that I really wanted to address. And then in looking into weight loss and like why my weight might be a certain way, I was kind of convinced that I might be diabetic or pre-diabetic because one side of my family there is a history of diabetes and also sort of obesity. Um, and I'm not obese by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm also not skinny. Definitely not skinny. There's junk in the trunk. And I'm like I've always been a size 12. That's a lie. When I was 18, 19, 20, I was at 8 to 10. And I thought I had body fat. I was like, oh, look at all this body fat. Size 8 to 10. Crazy how we do that, like when we're young. Um, but then for most of my 20s, I was a size 12, very early 30s, a size 12. And that was just like, I'd kind of settled into that size. And it was like, well, I'm just a size 12. That's my size. I'm happy with it. Totally comfortable with it. Don't feel the need to be a size 8 to 10. Like, I am who I am. This is my body. And then I've slowly crept up to a 14. And then there was a point at which a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, that I was like, ooh, some of my clothes, bearing in mind these particular clothes are from Shein, don't hate on me. I know it's fast fashion, trying to get away from that. Um, but some of my clothes from places like that are like pushing a 16. And I know that they are made abroad, you know, quite often in China, where the sizes are definitely smaller. And I've never really cared about a label. I'm kind of like, if a label's extra large or 16, I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's just a label. Like, if the clothes fit nice and I feel good, that's what matters. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't care if my clothes says size 24. If I look good in it, I look good in it. So I kind of want to move away from like caring about sizes and like this isn't a let's look at my size kind of conversation and that kind of thing. But it's more the fact that I was aware that the weight was creeping up and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm pre-diabetic. So kind of went for some blood tests and I kind of stumbled across the fact that I might have PCOS. And I've been told years and years ago that I had cysts on my ovaries, and I never heard any more about it because they kind of told me that in looking for something else. They were doing something else at the time in the hospital, completely unrelated. And they were like, oh, just so you know, you've got some cysts on your ovaries. I was like, okay, cool, great. Can you tell me what that means? Oh, that's a separate thing. Never heard anything. Never heard from a doctor, nothing. Not even an advice pamphlet posted through the door, like, oh, we found this, like, have a read through. Nothing. I know the NHS is stretched, but I was kind of like, kind of want to know, like, what to do, what that means. Anyway, I went for years and years, with no answer, kind of forgot about it. And then in thinking I was pre-diabetic, stumbled back on the PCOS thing and was like, right, I wonder if any of the blood results will suggest this. So I went to the doctor and I just said to the doctor, look, I've been told I have PCOS years ago. Nothing was ever done. Told I might have it anyway. I'm not 100% sure. But I've been Googling it, as we all do. And I have various symptoms that I would love to check. And, some bloods that I would like to get done. Um, and let's also check for diabetes. I was convinced I was pre-diabetic. I was convinced like I had insulin resistance. And I actually think I did have insulin resistance. And I was eating a lot of sugar. Like every single day, it's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I want a sweet snack after I eat, or have a sweet snack as my meal. Like breakfast was always sugar, like some form of sugar. And then like my coffees would be I used to love a Starbucks, right? No hate on Starbucks, but like I used to love like a white chocolate frappe with extra hazelnut syrup and like oat milk and like extra vegan whip on the top. And I used to think like that was like the coolest thing. And it is kind of cool. It's delicious. Um, but like looking back now, it's like that's so unhealthy to have that every day and fucking expensive. Like, let's not forget about the expense, guys. It ain't cheap. But my sugar intake was through the roof and I just couldn't get away from it and I couldn't get my stamina up. I couldn't be consistent with my workouts, even though I was working out quite a lot. I was struggling with consistency. And I would like hammer the weights for a week or two and then have 2 weeks of the month where I was dying. Like I had all the things that you don't want from PCOS, which is like all the unwanted like excess hair, like when you get like excess hair like on your chin and like your face and like places you just really don't want it. And like I'm dark anyway, so I get like I'm quite a dark person with like dark hair, you know? So it's all these things I didn't want it, didn't want. What am I saying? It's the heat, guys. Um, and then it's like all these. So I kind of was like, it sounds like PCOS, also sounds like insulin resistant, and I need help. Like I need a tablet. And I kind of wanted, this is so funny because I kind of wanted a weight loss tablet. I was like, oh my God, give me a Ozempic. This is before it really took off though. And I just started hearing about it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I can get something. First port of call, I got diagnosed the most horrific weight loss tablet that just makes you basically shit out fat. Like anytime you consume fat, it comes straight through your body. Horrific. And I was like, oh, I just don't think this is for me. I don't think this is helping or doing anything good. And then I was told I wasn't pre-diabetic, but I was on the track to being pre-diabetic if I carried on. So that was kind of a wake-up call. PCOS was confirmed. So that's the first thing that I really want to focus on this season is PCOS because I found so many things that can help it. Supplements, advice, various different things that really do help. And I want to share that with you. I don't want to gatekeep. I'm so here for like sharing with the girls. Um, and then that was the first thing. And then I decided to go to a nutritionist and a PCOS expert actually. And she's been amazing. She shared some really amazing tips. And obviously, I don't want to give all of her tips away for free because obviously her service is paid for. Um, but there's just some really useful life tips that are just generic that I don't want to gatekeep, which are kind of common sense anyway, but you just don't link them with these specific ailments. So I went to her and I also went to a private doctor, both of whom confirmed that this weight loss tablet I'd been prescribed in the NHS was horrific. And it's not my NHS doctor's fault. Like, you know how it goes, the NHS, they prescribe the cheapest thing. Same with like when you get put on the contraceptive pill, you get put on the cheapest one first, and it's like only when you have issues do they then switch it up. Um, so they did their best. But, you know, I found out that was horrific and I shouldn't be on that. And all that's going to do is wreak havoc with my gut, wreak havoc with, you know, everything else that's going on in sort of in my body. So I stopped taking that. I didn't really take it consistently anyway, because it's not nice when you're out and about and you're eating a meal and then you just feel like you're going to shit yourself. Like, who wants that? Like, no one. Um, and then this, and then going from that, sort of weight loss pill journey and PCOS discovery, I then started to discover sort of other things, that were going on, sort of hormonally. And basically, long story short, wanting weight loss tablets, I thought was like that was going to solve all my problems. I was like, if someone gives me that, it's going to solve all my issues. Or if they prescribe me with something that stops insulin resistance, problem solved. And the last year has just been such a discovery of like stripping it right back to basics because you always want the quick fix. We always want like what money can't buy. Like we always want the biggest, most elaborate quickest thing. And same with the nutritionist. I assume that spending money on like seeing her would be like she would give me some amazing, like instant advice that I'd never heard before that was going to be like, shit, that's the answer. Like she's given me this amazing thing. She's prescribed this amazing tablet. Like, hey presto, we're done. And I'm not saying she didn't prescribe me amazing advice, by the way. All advice was amazing, but I was just fascinated by how it was so basic and so like stripping it back to the core of like what you're putting in your body, the supplements that you're taking, what you're drinking, your routine, how you talk to yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you exercise, your cortisol levels, your stress levels, every single thing in your life that's like so basic has such a profound effect. And like symptoms of PCOS can be solved by literally stripping it back and looking at the basics and taking the right supplements. And I was just gobsmacked. Um, And it turns out weight loss tablets is not what I wanted. It's actually grim. Like, I don't want that at all. And a quick fix, I mean, if I could rob a magic lamp and have a quick fix, then maybe. But like in reality, a quick fix is not really what you want because what you really want is to live a sustainable life that's going to get you to the place you want to be in forever. So it's just been a fascinating journey with that. And then I also discovered, as I said, these like more sort of mental and sort of routine related symptoms. And I kind of started looking a little bit into ADHD. Now, I know everyone's jumped on the bandwagon with this, and I know people are just claiming ADHD left, right, and centre. And I don't want to be one of those people. And I want to say a disclaimer here and say I've not been officially diagnosed, but I have had several people in positions of professionalism mentally and physically, sort of like people that work in the fields of mental health and physical health who are highly trained, highly professional, who have all said, it sounds like you've got it. And I think without those people saying that, I wouldn't just be jumping on it like, I've got it. Because I know it's easy to like say, oh, I like to tidy up all the time. I'm OCD. Or, oh my God, like sometimes I'm hyper. I've got ADHD. It's so easy to just say, see a symptom or two symptoms, go, oh my God, I've got this. So easy to self-diagnose. And I don't want to be that person. So I had all these people that were in certain professions sort of saying, it definitely sounds like you've got it. And I sort of plunged myself into like hours of research. And although I'm not officially diagnosed, I don't think that really matters because let's say my symptoms that I'm feeling are not ADHD and it's something different. Um, or, from years of childhood trauma that I faced or whatever it could be. I still want to know how to manage those symptoms regardless of what title they are from. Um, but I am convinced it's ADHD in a mild form. Um, and then that kind of coincided weirdly with the PCOS. And it all kind of coincided and with working with my nutritionist, PCOS expert, we kind of, and my therapist as well. So the two combined, we really realized, and they weren't working together, I was working with each of them separately, but I kind of was having the same conversations with both of them. Um, and those kind of ailments combined, they kind of have the same or similar solutions. And it's all around diet, routine, self-talk, self-love, and supplements. And it's all really freaking simple. And I'm not here to advise anyone on like what they should do. Everyone's individual. You should take the things that I'm saying that are like super basic and adapt them to your life. Um, or go to a doctor if you think you need something diagnosed for sure. So I'm not here saying do this, do that, because I'm not the expert, but I want to share like my story and what's working for me. And like as we go through the season, like keep you updated on how it's going. Um, and I do want to shout out to one product actually. So Free Soul. I don't know if anyone uses Free Soul. I was a bit skeptical because they're kind of Instagrammy and I'm like, does it work? Like, I kind of took their apple cider vinegar gummies and I don't know if I saw a difference. So, me being skeptical, I'm like, well, if I can't see a difference, is there a difference? I don't really know. But one product that has two products actually of theirs that I swear by. So, they do one, I'm just going to lean to see if I can read this correctly. Myo-inositol. Myo-inositol is a supplement that they do specifically for PCOS. And I'm kind of taking it religiously at the moment. And it's been a couple of months um where I wasn't so consistent in the first month. I think with the move and like rushing home every other week to see my dad, sort of in and out of hospital. And I just everything's been with like family has been so rushed that I wasn't taking my vitamins home with me. Like normally if I'm planning a trip, I'll have my little vitamin box and I'll like put my supplements and my vitamins in there so I'm prepared in like the mad rush that has been like summer in the events industry, coupled with all the craziness at home and the move, it was like I didn't have time. So I really that sort of first month of taking that, I really didn't stay consistent. But I'm getting consistent with it now, and it seems to be really helping with like unwanted excess hair, sort of bloating, sort of my hormonal, it seems to be having an impact on my hormones, like how I feel throughout the month, how balanced I feel. Don't know if it's impacting my weight in any way, but my weight is stabilizing slash getting better, which could be a combination of all of these things. And I think it is. I think it's always a combination. And then the other project by them is called cortisol, like cortisol, obviously a play on the word cortisol. Um, and one of the things I've discovered through this whole journey is like my biggest thing that's had an impact on my body and which impacts me negatively, especially with my weight, is my cortisol levels and my stress. And I always thought that like being super stressed and pushing yourself through like five really intense gym workouts in a week and forcing yourself and like causing yourself an injury is like the way to lose weight. And it's not. Like you need to be balanced and you need to be relaxed. And but that's a side note. We'll get on to the fitness stuff. But just to get back on track. So cortisol has lots of great ingredients in it, which I feel really are useful for ADHD symptoms. Um, so shout out to Free Soul, like in taking that, I tend to couple the cortisol because it's like a tropically flavor with their peach flavored greens. So I mix the two powders together in some ice water, give it a good shake up, slice of lemon, delicious. It is like the most, especially in summer. I don't know how I'm gonna love it in the winter, but in summer it's the most refreshing juice I've ever drank. And it makes me feel good. I just have it every day now and I feel really good. And then it kind of makes you feel good in the day, like good energy, you feel calm, you feel good. But then after a few weeks, the mental clarity, like I feel my ADHD can go super up and down if I've got ADHD. Disclaimer. Um, like I can be super hyper and then I can feel super burnt out and dysregulated and just lie on my bed and do nothing. And I feel like over a few weeks, that drink has helped like balance it out a little bit. And I have a lot more mental clarity and I don't feel this like burst of like, "Ah." um, there's lots of other things I've done to help that, like screen time, less alcohol, not being around people that are staying up till 9 in the morning, all these different things. Um, like that tend to be like ADHD personalities or people with similar personalities can be quite addicted to like addicted to the party, addicted to drinking, like you want one drink and then you want another. And like there's loads of other stuff around that, like physical stuff and habits and routine that I've changed, which has also helped the symptoms. But I do think that cortisol drink has really had an impact. Um, so yeah, I feel like we've totally got off track here. And I really want to get into some things in more detail. So yeah, those supplements in particular have really helped me. But more than that, I want to delve into diet itself. And I'm going to do a separate episode on like routine and fitness and screen time and alcohol and all those different things that have also had an impact. But let's strip it back to diet and supplements. So, as I've said, those two supplements are super good for me. Another thing I take from Free Soul. Another thing I take by Free Soul, which I've also tried a few good brands actually, to name a few, Innermost. I love Innermost because their vanilla protein is so creamy. It's like the creamiest vanilla you'll ever have. It's like almost like vanilla custard. And they do a vegan and a non-vegan version. They're really good. Oh, there's a few others I can't think of right now, but I will share. Um, and then at the minute I'm on Free Soul protein. And protein is like such a big thing in your diet to make you feel good. They do say if you have a high protein, high vegetable diet, as someone with ADHD, if you're someone that has it, it can have a profound impact on your symptoms. And I think there was a study done with children, actually. I don't have the details, but where their diet was completely changed and they basically just their personalities changed for the better, which I just think, sorry, an ambulance is going past. I don't know if anyone heard that. Um, but it's just super interesting to see how your diet can impact you. So high protein, I think, is the biggest thing. Like high protein is so good for PCOS, but it's also so good for ADHD. And it's also so good if you're working out and for weight loss. I think a common myth with weight loss is that you need to eat less and that, like, if you eat less, you'll be skinny. Obviously, there's the whole, you know, calories in, calories out that does make an impact. You know, you should have low calories, but the reason high protein, one of the many reasons high protein helps weight loss is it keeps you so full. And I've noticed such a difference in I tend to add a bit of protein to my iced coffee in the morning. I also have like really healthy yogurt. So I have a yogurt called, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Fire. Fire or Fire, Fire. I think it's Fire. Um, and it's like this big tub of like super healthy yogurt. I swear by it. I've seen so many health and wellness people having that yogurt. Um, And what I do is I just put like a couple of teaspoons, not a lot. Like you don't want it overpowering. You don't want to like be having protein powder in it all your meals. But I put a couple of teaspoons of like vanilla protein powder into my yogurt, stir it in just to make it a bit creamier, get that extra protein hit. Have some sprinkled nuts on top, some bee pollen, fruit. I love orange, with a little grating of like lemon zest and chopped walnuts. Chef's kiss. It's a little bit naughty. I also have that in an evening. So sometimes I'll have that for breakfast, but sometimes I'll have that in an evening if I'm really craving a sweet treat. Little sweet treat. I love that guy on TikTok, by the way, that does that voice. If anyone knows him, is this a sweet treat? Looks like a sweet treat. I love it. I'm obsessed. But that is the best sweet treat. Try it. Give it a try. Like peel a massive orange, cut into segments, put it on top of your proteiny yogurt, vanilla yogurt, chopped walnuts, bit lemon zest. If you've really got a sweet tooth and you're really craving it and you're really struggling, if you're really hormonal, a little dash of honey. Perfect. Honestly, cannot tell you how good it is. Um, Back to the protein. But yeah, I find I just feel full for longer and like super satisfied. And I've also noticed if I have eggs in the morning, or sausages. And also, I used to be veggie, I'm not anymore, but for the veggies out there, Richmond veggie sausages are so good. So good. If anyone's got any really good veggie alternatives for protein, please do let me know. And I'm not talking like ultra processed frozen burgers that are veggie. Like I'm talking like good shit, like brands that are like full of goodness and like good alternatives. Like I'm none of this fake crap. If anyone's got any suggestions, please send. I'd love to share with everyone else. But Richmond sausages, oh my God, so good. I love both. So at the minute, I'm switching up between meat Richmond and veggie Richmond because I'm not veggie, but I like to try and reduce my meat consumption. So I do switch it up. And if I have something meat or egg based in the morning or veggie protein in the morning, I am so full for hours that I just don't overeat. And I think that is the key. It's not that protein loses weight, it's that it keeps you full, it's good for you. It just, the way I feel when I eat protein over crap, it's just night and day. And like, because I've been so consistent with it over this summer, I've really noticed a balance in my PCOS symptoms and my ADHD symptoms, quote unquote. Everything just feels more balanced. So high protein diet is a given. I feel like people talk about this left, right, and center, like fitness people, PTs, health experts. Everyone says high protein, high protein. And it sounds so obvious and it's so basic, but it's not. They're not saying it for the good of their health. Well, they are, but they're saying it because it actually works. And it's actually super beneficial for all people, regardless of your ailments. It's just so good for you. So that would be my first big thing in terms of diet and supplements. Like, get your protein. If you can't get enough protein in your diet, do what I do, add a little bit of protein powder into something that you're eating. Like in my iced coffee, I'll either have like a couple of like really healthy protein drinks in my fridge, and I'll open one. You're supposed to drink a whole one in a day and it's like your protein hit, but I don't like, some of them have a little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetener, and I don't like to overload on the sugar and sweetener. So in my iced coffee, I'll maybe like do a third of like a protein drink, and then the rest will just be like sugar-free almond milk and my coffee and some ice. And that just adds a bit of protein into your coffee. And then, like, as I said, protein powder into your yogurt. Like, there's just ways of adding it in throughout the day where you're not having to like drink shitloads of sugary protein drinks all the time, you know? So there are ways, like just look at ways you can just increase your protein, like meal boxes as well. I want to talk about because I used to get HelloFresh. I now get Gusto. Both are great. I have a slight preference for Gusto just because I find the meals a bit easier and they're smaller portions, so you don't have to have the same thing like 2, 3 days in a row. Like HelloFresh meals are quite big, which I think is perfect if you're a family or you're cooking for two every day or whatever, because the portions are big, so it's enough for two people, or if you're a small person, three portions. Whereas for me, it's just little on me, so Gusto is better. And I have limited space in the shared fridge, so Gusto is definitely better for that. But they're really handy as well if you don't have time to cook, because you can look at the protein of each meal before you order it. So what I tend to do is I used to just order whatever the hell I fancied. I used to go on HelloFresh and go, oh, mac and cheese, bosh that, get that in the basket. Love a mac and cheese. Bob's your uncle. Like bish bosh bash, get a bit of cheese, love that. Love pasta, love cheese. Oh, like the next thing is like rice and da 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 and da da da. The next one's a homemade pizza. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Before I know it, I'm like overcarbed, over sugar, no protein. That's obviously protein, but so I switched my thought process to, okay, well, I've got this tool at my disposal, which is meal prep boxes that I order, which I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford and be home for. Like, how can I use this to my advantage? So I thought, right, I'm just gonna check the fucking nutritional value of every meal before I put it in. And what I tend to do is I tend to pick three meals that are quick to make, super easy, because I don't have a lot of time, and then that frees up my time for my podcast or my fitness or whatever. Um, High protein and then low sugar. So for me personally, it doesn't matter if a meal is kind of high in fat. Fat is okay for me. Um, for me, what matters is low sugar, high protein. Those are the two things that I find. Obviously, if you can get low fat as well, great. But like low sugar, high protein, for me are the two staples of my diet that help my PCOS and my ADHD symptoms, if that's what they are. So that's what I aim for in all things. Like, and then obviously just as little processed food as possible, as little additives as possible. But like the two staples is low sugar, high protein. That's it. So then I apply that to my meal prep options. And that's really helping. And I'm finding that I'm really still enjoying those meals. Like I'm getting things that are like, because I'm not veggie, like high, like I'll order a meal that's like lots of chicken, like high chicken quantity with some fresh veggies and some bit of rice maybe and this and that. And I'm really enjoying the veggies and the meat more than I thought I would. So I would have ordered a mac and cheese back in the day and been like, oh, that's going to be my fave. Now my fave is the meat and the veg. I'm like, oh, delish. And everything's seasoned so well, I think, as well. Like these meals were always thought I am prepared in a way that it's going to taste good. So there's always enough flavor, which is great. So that's another tip. If you're able to order those boxes, highly recommend it, especially for the busy ones of us, especially us guys living in London where we're always on the go. It's super helpful. I'm like, bish bash bosh, give me the fucking recipe card. 10 minutes, whip it up. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Wallop, done. Like, easy, you know? And I'm like, meal done. So I can either do two of them in one go and put one for meal prep for work and one to eat now, whatever. Like it's so easy, just so easy. Um, and then another thing I've learnt with diet is veggies, super dark green veggies are the best. So I'm talking spinach, broccoli, like can't think of any others at the top of my head. But just dark green leafy vegetables are really good. And then dark green vegetables like broccoli and things like broccoli and cauliflower are really good. It's funny because since learning all of this stuff and embarking on this journey, I've completely switched up my Nando's order. I don't know if anyone's like me, but I always have the same Nando's order. I'm like, let me have 10 minutes to look at the menu. And I'm like, oh, they've got new things. Amazing. Oh, why don't they add more new things? It's always the same. Oh, order the same thing again. Like, I take all this time looking through the menu. I moan that they're not updating the menu enough. Get excited when there is new things in the menu, and then I still order the same shit. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, I have the same order. It's like a go-to. It's like a comfort blanket. And so that order used to be, no joke when I say this, some of you that are like into fitness and weight loss will listen to this and be like, girl, no wonder you are fat. But my go-to order used to be double chicken pitta with extra cheese, an extra halloumi in the pitta, a side of peri peri chips, a side of halloumi, and sometimes a side of rice. And quite often, a little Portuguese nata, whatever they're called, a little custard cake, the most delicious sweet treat known to man. Or another sweet treat, chocolate brownie. And that would have been my order. And I'm like, that's insane. That's just so much carbs. And it's fine. If you're having a Nando's once in a while, go all out, girl. Get it, girl. But like, my go-to order now is like the hummus cauliflower box. It's got like long stem broccoli. It's got pickled cauliflower. It's got pickled like veggies, like coleslaw type veggies. It's got hummus and it's got nuts and seeds. And what I do is get chicken breast on that. Delish. Occasionally a side of halloumi if I'm feeling fruity. Sometimes a side of corn if I'm feeling fruity. Depends how hungry I am. But like the difference in what I'm putting on my plate and what I'm putting in my body is like it's those little changes and those little that little increase of veggies and decrease of carbs, little increase of protein but decrease of sugary carbs, makes all the difference. And I find that every time I'm making a meal choice now, I'm like making better choices. Like the broccoli, the cauliflower, the coleslaw, anything pickled is so good for you. Like, I don't like sauerkraut. I don't even know what that is, really, if I'm honest. And I never used to like coleslaw, although I do now. If it's good coleslaw, cheap coleslaw can fuck right off. But good coleslaw, I'm all in for. I'm like, give it to me. I never used to like it, but I got taught by this nutritionist that like anything pickled or like anything that's like raw carrot, raw cabbage, like all that good stuff that's like fermented or like pickled or just like raw, so good for PCOS. So good. So good for your hormonal balance, not just PCOS, just your hormonal balance in general. And I'm really making these positive choices and I'm really seeing a difference, and it's incredible. My sugar cravings have gone. My chocolate, daily intake of chocolate has gone. But I think that's also a little bit of willpower as well. So it's also like recognizing that like I don't always need it, coupled with making better choices, which is impacting my desire for it. Does that make sense? So it's like the increase in protein and healthy foods coupled with a little bit of willpower means I'm just eating less sugar because I'm making better choices and my body's reaping the rewards. And I just feel amazing overall. Like, I feel like my hormones are way more balanced. I feel way less dysregulated, way less overwhelmed, and just like, I don't know, like more energy. and more stable energy rather than like these bursts of energy. It's like more stable. Um, so that's a bit of advice. What else can I tell you? Let me think. More water. That's a given. That goes without saying, especially in this heat. Jesus. Increased water really helps. Um, my trick was recently to drink sparkling water so that you feel like you're having a treat, so that you don't crave like Lucozade or Diet Coke or whatever. So I'd never drink fizzy drinks. I've never really been a fizzy drink person anyway, but sometimes you get that craving, and I feel like fizzy water like eliminates that craving for me. It's like, oh, this is a treat. But then I became reliant, not reliant, but I drank a lot of sparkling. That's all I drank. And now I'm back to still water again. And I got this little sippy cup free from Free Soul, actually. You can't see it because it's blurry. It says, drink your greens. And I fill this with ice and lemon and fresh water. And it's my go-to. Some people have a Stanley cup. I have this. I never understood why people would carry a big thing around with them full of water. Now I get it. Because I only drink bottled water. It's far cheaper for me to buy like massive bottled water in bulk and pour it into one of them and carry that around with me full of ice than buy a bottle of water everywhere I go, because I was buying like little bottles here, there, and everywhere. So bad for the environment. So we've switched to this. That makes a difference. Lemon water in the morning as well. Game changer. Absolute game changer. So good for your stomach. So good for de-bloating. So good for weight loss and just feeling good. Like fresh lemon, get that in your body. We love to see it. And then yeah, obviously another thing that's a given that I've kind of mentioned already is just no sugar, like a lack of sugar, like lowering your sugar intake, your sweetener intake, your artificial stuff intake. But as I said, that kind of will come more naturally when you start eating better because you'll crave it less. Do you know what I mean? So like it's kind of it goes hand in hand. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all I can give you really. Oh, yesterday I had the most delicious breakfast. So I've already told you about my yogurt breakfast. This one was 10, 10, 10. Sourdough bread as well. That's another tip, actually, before I tell you my breakfast. The less ingredients in a product, the better. Fitness and health and well-being people all across the planet will tell you this. They'll be like, the less ingredients, the better. But it's so true. Sometimes you need something, if you're working like a 12-hour shift on site, you need something that's just good for on the go, right? That might have a few extra added things in it and it keeps it fresh, whatever. Sometimes you're hungover as fuck and that's what you want, whatever. Moderation. But if you can look at the ingredients of something, and we're not saying stand in the supermarket scanning every ingredient of every product, we're saying look at the ingredients, scan them, see if it's a few ingredients or a lot of ingredients you can't even pronounce. And if it's a few, you're good. So, like bread, for example, sourdough is so much better than white bread. And I've made that switch, and that's helped because white bread's so addictive. And Jason's sourdough, Jason's bread is so you can kind of get it everywhere now. It's more common than it used to be. It used to be like not sold everywhere, but now you can get Jason's bread quite a lot of places. Jason's sourdough is so good. It's got like very minimal ingredients. It's just all health. So yesterday, back to my breakfast, I'm so excited. I had Jason's sourdough, buttered, shebang, great start. Little bit of Himalayan salt sprinkled, tiny, I'm talking tiny bit, like I like a little bit of extra salt when I'm having a bougie breakfast. And then I did two boiled eggs, half an avocado. Or did I do one boil? Maybe I did one boiled egg. One boiled egg. Yeah. Half an avocado and a sausage. That was it. And what I did was I sliced the boiled egg into slices, sliced the sausage into little pieces, and I sliced the avocado into slices, like diagonal slices so they look bougie. And I arranged them on my sourdough as if I was in some kind of fucking restaurant. Let me tell you, it's like I was working for tips. Avocado first with a sprinkle of chili flakes, egg, and then the sausage was just kind of arranged around the outside. Oh my God. And then on the side, I had like a little vine with three little yellow tomatoes on. Not yellow because they're not ripe, but you know, you can buy the yellow ones and they're super sweet.
Three little teeny, 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 teeny sweet treats. I'm obsessed with sweet treats. Um, oh my God, it was heaven. Absolute heaven. And I went to eat lunch. I was going to have like a little salmon salad for lunch. Didn't eat my lunch till 3:30 because I was full the whole day. And then I was like, it's 3:30, I just should eat lunch. I didn't really fancy it. And I'd done a workout as well. And I was like, I don't even need it because I'm full from that breakfast. That breakfast was enough to do me for the day. Literally did me over. Like that breakfast did me. Um, heaven. A little bit of salt and pepper on the top, chili flakes on the avo, sprinkle of salt on your butter. Probably someone's going to shout at me and go, less salt, less salt. But like a little bit pink Himalayan salt here and there doesn't hurt a fly. And that's it, guys, in terms of diet. I'm going to leave it there for this episode. I feel like we've unpacked a lot. We've talked about what this season's going to look into and what it's going to be about. I really can't wait to talk to you about my fitness, how I've incorporated Pilates and yoga, and what I'm doing now in the gym, and how I've increased my steps and all those kind of things. Can't wait to talk to you about my morning routine, my evening routine, my mental well-being, and how that's shaping up, and how my different supplements are helping me. Like, can't wait to delve into all this stuff with you. I think it's going to be really, really useful. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at. Life update, diet update. As of now, my weight has stabilized. I'm a comfortable 14. I'm not leaning for those size 16s anymore. Comfortable 14. Feel good. Still quite got quite a bit to lose, but we'll get there. And I'll keep you on the journey. Let's just remember though, this is not a weight loss journey. This is PCOS, ADHD, like mental health, general health, all of that kind of stuff. Like, that's what this is all about. But along the way, I need my weight to stabilize. I need it to start slowly going down rather than going up, or go down a little bit and then stabilize and stay like that because I can't have it increasing. Because as I said at the beginning, I'm on my track to being pre-diabetic. And if you get to pre-diabetic, you're then on the track to being diabetic. And we don't want to go down that route. So for health reasons, it's obviously going to be a bit of weight loss along the way. And I'll keep you posted on that. All very exciting. Thank you again for listening. Tune in next time for more tips and more advice and more of my life. We'll get some guests on as well, some familiar faces, some new faces. So tune in, have a listen, share the tips, don't gatekeep, share with everybody. Stay hydrated, don't overheat. And yeah, I'll see you all next time, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this first episode of season 3. As explained at the beginning, this was recorded in 2025. So tune in next Tuesday for more updated episodes and a new update on where life is at now. Thank you once again. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, get your friends listening, and tune in next week. And we really appreciate your love. Have a good week.